All right, well, welcome everyone. Mary Spencer has been a culinary instructor for over 20 years. Her professional cooking career began when she donated charitable auction dinners and cooking classes to the downtown Detroit YMCA and the Northville Parks and Recreation. These dinners were a tremendous success and encouraged Mary to become a professional culinary instructor. By way of background, Mary learned to cook from attending some 200 cooking seminars from acclaimed chefs, including Jacques Pepin, Milos Chikla, and Nicholas Malgiri. She has taught cooking classes at a number of Metro Detroit cooking equipment stores, including Kitchen Glamour, Kitchen Witch, Scotty's Kitchen, and ABC Warehouse. She is presently the owner of Taste, a Cook's Place, LLC, a cooking school and Cook's Resource Center situated in Plymouth, Michigan. Mary has conducted numerous classes for corporations, service organizations, and individuals. She has been a guest lecturer at the U of M Sociology Department and Michigan State University. Her class repertoire includes over 1,000 class-tested cooking presentations covering a wide range of topics. Her personal library holds over 5,500 cookbooks, and I'm sure more by now.
Probably.
Welcome, Mary.
Thank you. Thanks, Denise. Thank you guys for coming, or joining in. And so tonight we're going to be doing some summary kind of air fryer recipes. And I'm kind of focusing on what the air fryer does and doesn't do, and the different things about an air fryer. If you have questions, please let us know. Denise will kind of let me know, and we'll answer them when we get them. But I know a lot of people buy an air fryer, and sometimes you just kind of think it's a little bit, complicated, or you don't know what to cook in it. Well, first thing before I don't know how many of you actually own one, or if you're just thinking about getting an air fryer, but this is the third air fryer that I have owned. I had one a long time ago that was just one of the plastic models that had one drawer in it, and it was okay. I didn't like that it had a real kind of a smaller capacity, so I bought a bigger one. I bought one that was it was an emerald, and I got it from one of the warehouses or whatever, and it was more like a toaster oven version. So I know you guys, if you're looking to buy one or whatever, it had more capacity. You kind of cooked on it like you do a toaster oven, and cooked on it on a rack. My issue with it was that it was a lot of work to clean it up. I didn't like the way that it dripped on the bottom of the air fryer, and it had a lot of other things that it did that I just never used. So I decided to get another one that had a bigger capacity, but maybe a little bit easier to use. So I ended up with this Ninja. I love this thing. It's 2 drawers. So it's got 1 drawer and 2 drawers. It cooks 2 different items at 2 different temperatures at 2 different times if you wanted to. So it really is a great machine. I don't know, the Ninja 2 drawer. I don't know other companies that actually make a true 2 drawer. One of the things people complain about with an air fryer is the fact that you can't cook a lot in it at one time. It's a very small capacity. So with a 2 drawer, what I like about it is I could cook more of one thing, or I could cook 2 different items at 2 different temperatures at 2 different times if I wanted to. So that works really well. So tonight we're going to do 2 recipes just to show you guys how this works, and the different things that you can do with it. I'm doing an air fryer Korean chicken wings. So basically we're going to do some chicken wings in the air fryer, and I'm going to toss them with a Korean kind of like a barbecue sauce almost, and then that'll be all ready to go. I'm also doing some cheesy zucchini fritters, just something a little bit different. So the first thing I want to do, and one of the things you're going to find as you're cooking in this, if you cook with this regularly, you're going to find that there's a lot of items that you're going to kind of know how long things take to cook. Some of the longer things that take to cook in here are things like chicken wings or French fries take a good 20 minutes or 25 minutes. And again, it depends on if they're fresh or frozen. If you're doing frozen chicken wings, it's going to take more time than fresh. So, those are items that take a little bit longer to cook. There are items that take really short amount of time. Like I do an appetizer that's a toasted ravioli. It's just delicious. So basically, frozen ravioli that I kind of bread and toast and put them in here. About 6 minutes, and you have a wonderful appetizer. So there's a lot of things that don't take a lot of time, a lot of things that take a little more time. So let's get our chicken wings. And I bought a package of wings. And we're going to season them first. So I have a little bit of salt. I'm just going to season the whole thing. And salt, pepper. These are, you could put in any kind of seasoning, powder if you want, or like a chicken seasoning, or if you wanted to do maybe an Italian wing, you could do that. Really, honestly, the sky's the limit as far as that's concerned. You can really do whatever you want. So one of the kind of the myths about air fryers that you don't have to use any oil whatsoever. The problem is oil makes things crispy. Oil makes things brown. And in an air fryer, it's not like cooking in a, deep fryer. You're actually, not using a lot of oil to cook, but you need a little tiny bit just to give it a little bit of that crispiness and a little bit more browning. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out my air fryer drawer. Okay. So basically what you have here, and this is how an air fryer works. It is essentially a convection oven. So if you own a convection oven at home, this is a miniaturized version of a convection oven. So what that typically is an oven that has a fan in it. So the fan circulates the air in the air fryer and gets things really, really hot. And because the air circulates, it crisps things up just as though you would put them in a deep fryer. Okay, so that's how an air fryer works. It doesn't quite work like a deep fryer does. Deep fryer, you immerse something in it and it immediately starts cooking. This more functions almost like a little bit of an oven, but through the cooking process, you do get food that is crispier and browner and really, really nice. So this has a removable little insert, and that's because with little slots in it, because I want that air to be flowing around my food. If I put the food directly on the bottom of my pan, the air would not flow around the food and I would not get things crispy. Okay. So as far as what oil I'm going to use, I do use like a spray oil. Some manufacturers tell you not to use a spray oil, but I have always used one. I clean my air fryer as soon as I'm done with it. I don't seem to ever have an issue with it. But if you want to just get one of those pumping bottles, you could buy one of those pumping spray bottles that you put olive oil in. That will work as well. But I find that those break really easily or they get clogged or whatever. So I just stick with good old Pam. And you could do that. They now sell olive oil in a spray bottle. I actually have some of that. Avocado oil. The sky's the limit again on that because you can do any oil you really would want. So I'm going to just spray a little bit on the bottom of my pan. Okay. And that's going to help it to kind of crisp on the bottom. So I'm going to put my chicken wings in here. And of course, I can't put all of them in here because you don't want to overfill the drawer. So I am putting as many as will fit in one layer. And as soon as I put these in, and when I show this to you, it's going to be a challenge, but I want to make sure that you see that you have room in between. You don't want to. So this, I'm going to move this one because it's hitting this one. And if you don't give it room, that air is not going to circulate and you're going to end up steaming your chicken wings instead of air frying them. Okay. So I'm going to put these in just like this, seasoning, salt and pepper. That's just basically it. And then what I'm going to do now, typically it's going to take about 20 minutes or so to cook these all the way through. So I'm going to start these at about 390 degrees. I think, 390. And so what I do is I hit number one drawer. That's the number one drawer. This is number two. I'm going to hit air fry. It automatically is set at 390, so I don't have to adjust the temperature. Most air fryers only go to 400. So, you're not going to get an air fryer that's going to go to 500 degrees because remember, it actually gets hotter in there as the air circulates. Okay. And then here I am going to set my time to about 11 minutes. All right. So it's all set. We're going to go for 11 minutes. Your recipe says 22 minutes. So what I'm going to do is I've got this at 11 minutes. Oh, before I do this, I forgot to spray the tops of these. So I'm just going to spray the chicken wing tops, put those back in and let those go. 11 minutes passes, I'm gonna take them out, flip them over, and then put them in for another 11 minutes. One of the beauties of an air fryer, and I know how I teach a lot of Instant Pot classes, and I think one of the things people get frustrated with an Instant Pot is the fact that you can't see into the machine. The nice thing about an air fryer is you can pull that drawer out anytime you want, and you can look at your food cooking. So don't be afraid. If you're thinking that maybe things are getting a little overdone, pull the drawer out and just take a look at it. You know, it is not a big issue. Okay, so I've got my zucchini, my chicken wings in here. We're going to just kind of put our zucchini together, show you how to do that, and then we'll talk more about the actual air fryer. So I had a zucchini that I just grated, and you could do it in your food processor, so it looks just, you know, on the small holes of a box grater, however you want to grate it. Okay, no big deal. I left the skin on the zucchini, you know, so it has a little more color. And then you do want to squeeze out the moisture out of the zucchini. So I wanted to show you guys a little trick. This is a potato ricer, this little gadget. And I use it to write, and basically what a potato ricer is, you put your boiled potatoes in here, and then you press this and it mashes, it basically shoots the potatoes out the bottom into very, very smooth mashed potatoes. It's absolutely a wonderful gadget for that. But then I realized that you can use this to squeeze liquid out of things. So if you have spinach that you need squeezed dry, or zucchini, this is what I have in here. I've got a little bit of that grated zucchini. We're going to put that in here, and then I'm just going to squeeze that just like this. Okay, until there's no more moisture. Let that kind of drip out, and then pull that out just like that. So I have all the moisture now in my bowl, and I don't have to squeeze it. You know, sometimes you have to take a towel and squeeze it dry with a towel. But if you have one of these guys, you know, use it for this, because it really is a great gadget for, you know, for doing squeezing things, especially spinach. I remember when I was a kid and my mother we were making pierogi, and we were doing the sauerkraut, and it was always my job to put the sauerkraut in my hands and squeeze the living daylights out of it. Oh my God, by the time we were done, I couldn't even make a fist. It was so much work, but this just works so beautifully for this. You don't want the liquid in here because the liquid is going to make the zucchini, you know, it's going to make them real wet, and they're not going to hold as a patty. So that's kind of what you want to make sure that doesn't happen. So for these zucchini cakes, I have some flour. We're going to throw some flour into our zucchini. I have some Parmesan cheese, just some grated Parm. And I have an egg. We're going to throw an egg in here. And, you know, I've got one egg. If you think you need two later on, if you don't think it's moist enough, you can do 2 eggs. I'm going to grab a spatula here. And we're just going to kind of mix this together a little bit. I'm going to add to this some fresh dill. I have some fresh chopped dill here, and I like that flavor. You don't have to. You could do basil. You could do really any herb you want, but I really love the way dill and zucchini taste together. All right, so we've got our egg in here. Gonna get that nice and moist. I've got a little bit of garlic. All right, so just a little chopped garlic. And then I also have a little bit of baking, this is baking powder, okay? And that's important because that'll help your cakes to kind of puff up a little bit. I'm adding a little pepper, and I'm adding a little bit of salt to this. All right. And so we'll just stir this together. I may need to add another egg. I think I had my zucchini were a little bit bigger, so we'll just see how these are. I think I need a little bit more salt too. And I am going to throw in one more egg. Sorry, guys. I'm going to reach for it back here. Okay. One more egg. I want that to be nice and moist. You know, I don't want it to be too dry. So basically, this is all ready to go. All right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just make these into patties. We're going to dip them in some panko breadcrumbs, and we're going to air fry them. Really, really simple way to do it. And so I want that to stick together nicely. And that's kind of what it's doing. It's sticking together so I can actually kind of make like a pancake out of it. You can make these out of, you want to substitute potatoes. You can do potatoes. You can do, you know, zucchinis, yellow squash. you know, really anything you want as far as that's concerned. Okay, so I have my cakes ready to go, and I've got my drawer. We're gonna put a little bit of this in the bottom of my drawer, just a little. All right, and then I have some panko here. Panko breadcrumbs only because it kind of makes it a little more crispy than you know, regular breadcrumbs. I like to do that when I'm using breadcrumbs to deep fry. But I'm gonna make these cakes. I'm gonna try to get at least 2 in here, and I don't want to make them too big. All right. So basically, just like this, I'm going to put these in my panko, get those nice and breaded, and you can make these all up, put them on a sheet tray, and then have them ready to go in your, you know, as soon as you have them all made up, you can have them on a sheet tray, all pankoed up and everything, and you're ready to go. All right, so there is my cakes. I'm going to pop these right in here. Okay, put this off to the side. And I'm going to wash my hands, guys. Sorry, it's just kind of a mess. So basically, I'm going to rinse that off. And okay, so we're all good to go. So now at this point, I am going to spray this again, just very lightly on the top. All right, and I am going to put these in my air fryer, drawer number 2. And the temperature is going to be, I'm going to air fry. The temperature is going to be 375. So we're going to do 375 for about, let's do it for 8 minutes. And, you know, one of the things that I always tell people when you're doing something like air frying or whatever, you want to make sure that, you know, you can err on the side of caution. So if your recipe tells you to cook these at, I'm going to hit start. If your recipe tells you to cook these at, you know, I don't know, for like 15 minutes or something, I always say cook it for 10 minutes. You don't know. Your air fryer may be hotter than another person's air fryer. You have no clue. Same thing goes with cooking things on the stove or in the oven. You know, I always say err on the side of caution. You can always add more time. You can't take time away. So that's, you know, it just kind of a real simple thing to remember. I wanted to talk to you guys about actually the care of the air fryer. One of the things when you're cooking things like what I'm cooking today, I do not mind having the food in the air fryer without anything in there. Okay, these air fryers are made so that nonstick coating is pretty darn good. So literally after I'm done cooking with it, I throw the drawer in my sink. I pour warm soapy water in there, and within a minute or so, I can scrub it clean and no problem at all. There's some instances when you're cooking something in the air fryer that might be a little more delicate, might be a little bit lighter. And so like lighter as far as in terms of, you know, it's a little bit harder to manage. So what I would always use is one of these. These are little parchment papers that they sell specifically for air fryers. You could get them off of Amazon or any, you know, any place like that. I think you probably get them at a grocery store nowadays too. They sell them everywhere. But don't use these unless whatever is in there is something you might think is not manageable to pull out. So I did a baked brie, you know, brie cheese, and I put it in the air fryer. And I used this because in my way of thinking, I couldn't figure out how I was going to get that brie out of there without it falling apart, because when it was hot and it was all melty, it was just going to come pouring, you know, out the side. So using this, I can just lift it up. Sometimes I cook, like if I'm doing tacos or something, or quesadillas, I'll use this for that. One of the things you have to remember when you're making things on the air fryer too, is that these light items that you have. So one of the great things you can do in an air fryer is you can make tortilla chips. So you can take tortilla chips and just spray them with a little bit of oil or maybe a little bit of butter. And sometimes I put like cinnamon sugar on them, throw them in here. The problem with tortilla chips is they're very light. Okay, and the way that the air fryer is constructed, the heating element is on the top. Okay, that's where the heat comes from. So if I put something like that in it, this has happened to me with a quesadilla. It's happened to me with shrimp because they're a little bit lighter as well. And one of the classic examples is people cooking a hamburger and putting a piece of cheese on at the end to melt the cheese. If you you have to make sure that you somehow anchor that to your air fryer. So if I was doing like shrimp or a quesadilla, I take a toothpick and just stick it in the quesadilla so that I anchor it and it won't fly up. Otherwise, what could happen is that those tortillas chips could fly to the top and you might start them on fire, but it's not a big deal. It's not like you're going to burn the house down. Just always be there to watch your machine. But if you just weigh them down with a toothpick, you should be good to go. And sometimes it happens with shrimp. You'll see that when you pull the drawer out, they move because they're a little bit lighter and they have a tendency to kind of, float around. So kind of have to be careful with that. Okay. All right. So I'm going to make the sauce for our Korean barbecue wings that we're doing. And this is a really easy sauce. It's not a sauce that you need to go out and buy a ton of ingredients. And I kind of mixed a lot of them together already. So what I have here is soy sauce. I have some water. I have some brown sugar. So there is my chicken wings. Before we continue with this, I want to take my wings out and I want to show you that these are partially cooked at this point. Okay. So I'm going to take these out. I'm going to put this on here because the drawer is hot at this point. And I am going to flip the wings over. All right, so we'll just give them a flip. And, you do this with any food that you kind of, you want both sides to get crispy, especially if it's something that you are cooking for a long time in the air fryer. That one did not want to stay the way I wanted it to. French fries is a great example because French fries, you can put them in your air fryer and you can, if you just take the drawer once in a while and shake it so that the French fries move around, you should be good to go, okay? I'm gonna spray just a tiny bit of oil on this. They're already starting to brown up, which is great, but I'm gonna spray a little bit of oil on here and we're gonna put these back in. The first drawer, air fry, I've got 390 and we're gonna do another, I'm gonna do 12 minutes this time, just to give it an extra minute to kind of cook and make sure that everything is, cooked right, okay? So I have my sauce, back to our sauce real quick. I have my sauce, which is soy sauce, water, brown sugar, a little bit of honey, some rice wine. If you don't want to use rice wine, just eliminate it, or you can use sherry if you have sherry, or you can use what else? What was I thinking about? White wine. You could just use white wine if you wanted to. That works as well. I have a little bit of minced garlic in here, and then the other ingredient that kind of makes this Korean is a Korean chili paste, and this is called gochujang, and it's basically a paste made out of chili peppers. It's got soy sauce in it. It's absolutely delicious. It's not like really hot. It just has like a really nice flavor. I'm going to put in about half of what my recipe calls for because I don't want to make it too, if I'm eating these, I don't want it too hot, guys. I'm not huge on things that burn your mouth, but this is a great product if you have an Asian market around, or if Myers sells it. Actually, Kroger sells it in their Asian section. So it's just basically called gochujang, and it's listed on your recipes sheet. Okay. So I'm also going to take a little bit of fresh ginger, and I usually use a microplane to grate my fresh ginger. And we're just going to grate a whole bunch of it in here. I love the flavor of ginger. I don't really look at the amounts. I just kind of try to add as much as I want, how much flavor I want to give it. Okay. So there you go. Your fresh ginger. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to just give that a stir. I'm going to put this in my little pot and I am just going to cook this down. This you can make 2 or 3 days ahead. You don't have to make it right before you're going to serve them. You can do it actually a couple days ahead, and that will work really well. Okay, get some of that paste out of my measuring spoon. All right, so we're going to throw this in here. And we're just going to kind of boil this, bring this to a boil, and let this kind of get a little thick. Let this reduce just a little bit, okay? And I want to make sure I keep an eye on it, because if I don't, it could boil over. So I want to make sure that I know that it's there, okay? But you don't have to do this. You can start with these chicken wings the way they are, and you can make them buffalo wings. You can make them Thai chicken wings. You can make them Oh my gosh, any kind of Italian chicken wings. You can do any kind of chicken wings you would like on this. It does not have to be the sauce that I'm making, but this is just a technique to make fresh chicken wings, in the air fryer. Basically, you cook the wings and then you toss them in a sauce. Basically, it's the same thing as if I was going to do like a buffalo sauce. A buffalo sauce is butter and Frank's hot sauce, and then you would throw the wings in it when it's done cooking. So that's the same principle. Okay, so one of the things I wanted to talk to you about, we'll look at our zucchini cakes. I'm looking at them and they look absolutely beautiful, guys. We're going to take them out of the air fryer and I'm going to show you what these look like. You can use any kind of sauce for these too. I kind of sometimes just like even like a tartar sauce or ranch dressing or whatever. They absolutely are gorgeous. So I don't know if you guys can see these really well, but those are my zucchini fritters. All right, really simple to do and absolutely delicious. They're nice and crispy from the panko, and they come out really nice. Okay, so one of the things that when you get your air fryer, if you have one and you haven't used it yet, read the instruction manual, because that's going to tell you a lot of things about them. They're all different. There's a million of them on the market, and they're all kind of different. So you really want to make sure that you kind of read your instruction manual as you're doing this. A lot of times a recipe will say to preheat your air fryer. The newer air fryers really do not need to be preheated. So when I'm cooking in my air fryer, I typically do not preheat it. I just put my food in, I set it for the time I want it to be at, and then I let it go. So, if you have a newer machine, it typically does not need to be preheated like an older machine does. The one thing that I did notice is if you are cooking something like in batches in your air fryer, the more you do and the longer you use your air fryer at one time, the air fryer gets hotter and hotter. So when you're on batch 4 of your chicken wings, you may want to dial down the amount of time that you're going to put your chicken wings in the air fryer, because sometimes they just, it'll be, the air fryer is super hot because you've been using it so long. It can get really hot inside too, and you may end up overcooking your food. So just, give it a little less time and you should be good to go. So I'm going to let that cook for a minute. So the oil is an issue. One of the things you have to remember too about air frying, it's not like cooking things in a, I'm just making sure my sauce isn't going to boil over, guys. I always have that issue. All right, so I'm going to put this right on top, and that should not boil over now. If you are, what was it? I forgot where I was. I'm sorry, guys. Using the oil, shake your air fryer drawers halfway through the cooking process. Unless you want to just do half the time and then you can pull it out, set it for another half the time, and you should be good. Cooking times and recipes are not exact. Your chicken wings may be thicker, they may be bigger than the ones that the recipe tester used when they tested the recipe. So you may have to cook them a little bit longer. Don't be overwhelmed by that. You cannot mound things in an air fryer. So if I took my chicken wings and I mounted them so that they came to the top of my air fryer drawer, the issue would be that the chicken wings on the top and on the bottom would get cooked, and the ones in the middle would not. Okay, they would stay raw. So you can't mound. You can pretty much do things on one level. Things like fries, if you do them maybe on 2 levels and then shake them halfway through, you should be good to go on that. But you don't want to do like giant, portions of things. That's why a lot of times people are a little bit leery of buying it, because you can't cook an awful lot. But if you use common sense, French fries do real well. You can, you can mound them a little bit. Tater tots would work. Those are things that you can put more than 1 level, but not more than 2. Okay, that's kind of the rule of thumb. One of the things that you kind of have to be concerned about is once you have accepted the fact that an air fryer is going to be a major part of your life, because it is a major part of my life now. I use it. We probably use this every single day now. We cook everything in it. I I was telling Denise that I rarely use my microwave anymore. Just because an air fryer does such a better job, cooking things, making things crispy and so forth. So basically, if you find a spot on your counter to put this guy, you want to make sure that, you can put it flush to the wall when you're not using it. But when you're going to use it, just pull it out a little bit. The heat part of the air fryer is in the back. So if I put my hand in the back of the air fryer, I can feel the heat. You don't want it, like if you're doing it for a long time or whatever, you don't want to overheat it and then maybe start a fire, okay? Just pull it about 5 inches away from the back wall and you should be really good to go. And that is not an issue. You do not have to put anything under the air fryer. There is no heat coming out from underneath it. It will not do anything to your counters. It's the back that you have to worry about more, okay? Reheating leftovers is one of the most awesome things that an air fryer does. Pizza comes out better in the air fryer, sometimes better than when you first bought the pizza. And I'm not joking on that, because sometimes when you get the pizza home and it's a little bit sloppy, it got a little bit cold. You put it in the air fryer, it gets super, super crispy on the bottom and everything melts on top. It is the best reheated pizza. Anything leftovers like that, frozen items works really well in the air fryer. You just have to really remember that whenever you're doing anything from the frozen state, you have to give it a little bit more time. So if you're doing French fries from fresh French fries, you want to give it like maybe, I'd say 25 minutes, maybe with a break in between to shake it. If you're doing frozen French fries, you want to give it at least 30 minutes. Okay, it's going to take a little bit longer because obviously things are, a little bit more, it's going to take longer because it's frozen. You don't have to thaw things either. Just put it straight in there frozen. It's going to take you a few extra minutes, but it should be fine. One of the things too that you have to make sure of when you're doing things in the air fryer is things that are fatty, and the chicken wings, they're not real fatty, so I'm not too worried about these guys. But sometimes if I do like a chicken breast or a chicken thigh or bacon, something that's really fatty, what will happen is as it's cooking, that fat will drip through that drip pan that's in the bottom, and if it starts burning on the bottom of your drawer, it will start to smoke. So to remedy that, to eliminate that completely from happening, you can just take a little bit of water, put it in the bottom of your drawer. Anytime you're cooking anything that's got a little more fattiness to it, put it in the bottom of the drawer, and the fat will drip in the water and will not burn to your drawer. Okay, so that works beautifully. You don't have to worry about the smoke issue. If you've got smoke coming out from the top, something may have floated to the heating element, and it could, like I said, it could be your tortillas or whatever. I've made one of my favorite things to make in here is taquitos, little rolled tacos, and I've done it with corn and I've done it with flour tortillas. I like the flour tortillas because they just seem to hold better. The corn seems to want to split, but you can still do them. You just have to put toothpicks in them. Taquitos come out absolutely amazing. They're absolutely delicious in the air fryer. So egg rolls come out beautifully. Spring rolls, if you're doing that, comes out absolutely beautifully in the air fryer. Really great for any of those items. Okay. All right. Any questions, anybody? If anybody has any questions, let me know. Let us know. Let Denise know, and then we can answer them. All right. So one of the things that you have to remember too, and kind of one of the most important things, is the fact that you don't want to put things in here that are real wet. So I had a guy come up to me at a demo one time, and he told me that he tried to do a blooming onion. Okay, so he took the onion, he dipped it in a wet batter, and then he put it in his air fryer. He says he's never had such a mess in his life. Basically what happened was that batter just fell all over, and it cooked on its own, not with the actual not with the item that was supposed to be battered. The way that a deep fryer works is that when you are deep frying something in hot oil, you batter it with a wet batter. Okay, so it can be deep fried fish, it can be chicken, whatever, any kind of things like that. The problem with doing it, when it hits the hot grease, when you're doing a normal deep fry, in hot oil, that batter starts to cook. So basically, once it hits that hot oil, the batter on the outside of that item will actually start to cook, so it won't fall off, okay? If you're doing it in the air fryer and you put it on the drawer in the air fryer, it's kind of like putting it in the oven. If you put a wet batter in here, it's going to start to stick, and it's going to start to, fall off of whatever it is you put on there. So in order to make things crispy or, crunchy, or make them simulate kind of a deep fried item, the better thing to do would be for you to take breadcrumbs, use breadcrumbs, cracker crumbs, panko. Those are the things that you want to do to make things crunchy or crispy, okay? Wet batters just do not work in an air fryer. It's just not a good thing, guys. So I've got my my chicken ready to go. I'm going to move this for a second before I drop it. Okay, so I've got my drawer here. They look absolutely beautiful. I'm going to pop them in this bowl, and you guys can kind of see what I'm talking about. I'll put this back in here. Now, if I thought these needed an extra couple minutes of time, you guys can see it, I hope. But a few more minutes in time, I could just, reset it, give it a couple more minutes to go, and then I'm good to go. But these are super crispy right now. I'm going to take a little bit of this sauce, and we're going to just pour a little bit of this sauce right on top. All right, and then we're going to toss this. Oh, before I do that, I meant to actually, well, I'll show you guys in a minute. I was going to thicken it a little bit with some cornstarch. So cornstarch, a little bit of water will thicken my sauce and make it more like a syrupy consistency, which you can absolutely do. If you don't want to do that, you can just do what I did. And it's not going to do anything. It's not going to be sticky. It's just going to be, it's going to give it good flavor, but it won't be a real sticky sauce. And then I'm going to add a little bit of green onions, chopped green onions, and a little bit of sesame seeds right to my chicken wings, and kind of give them a stir. All right, and then these are my Korean chicken wings, guys. Just really, really super delicious. It has a lot of good flavor. Gonna add a little bit more here, and then we'll tip these out into a bowl so I can show you how these look. All right. So there is my deep fried, or air fried chicken wings. Okay. All right. Any questions, anybody? Or maybe problems that you've had with your air fryer that maybe you want to talk about? Anybody has any questions or anything, let me know.
Heidi said in the beginning that she wants to be at your house and eat all the food you make.
You know what? I so much prefer to be able to give you guys the food to taste, but I'm not going to quibble with, this will be my dinner, so it's all good. I get it. But yeah, I wanted to give you something a little more summery, something that you can eat on the patio. The zucchini, people have zucchini coming out of their ears if they have a garden. So these are a nice thing to have to make when you're doing, when you've got an overload of zucchini. It's a great little cake. Make sure you season the batter real well, the zucchini, because otherwise it's going to be flavorless. But other than that, they work pretty well. And the chicken wings, I love chicken wings, and in the air fryer, they do take a little more time than you would imagine they do. But, if you do them in the oven, you could get more done at one time, but they're not, I guarantee you, they're not going to get quite as crispy. They're going to take longer because your oven is bigger. And, if you're making chicken wings for a crowd, before you toss them in the sauce, if you want to do these in the morning, you could do these in the morning, lay them out on a sheet pan. When your guests are about ready to come, put them in the oven for 10 minutes to reheat, toss them in your sauce, and you're good to go. Okay. And you could even freeze these after you've cooked them. If you don't want to eat them all, throw them in your freezer, and then you can air fry them the next time you want them, the next time you need them.
Jackie is asking, they're buying their first air fryer. A couple people just joined. So I told the one lady that we will have the recorded version of this.
Perfect.
It'll be on our website in a couple of days. But Jackie asked, they're buying their first air fryer. She said, what should they look for?
It really depends on what you're looking for. And that's, it sounds kind of like I'm trying to pass the buck, but it isn't, because if you're a household of one or two people, You know, and you might like to reheat things. You might cook like 2 chicken breasts at a time or something. A 1-drawer air fryer would work beautifully. This one, I love this one, and they do make a single drawer in this brand. This is a Ninja. But the one that I had that was like a toaster oven had so many things that it did, and I never used any of those things. I bought it for the air fryer, and you know, I just didn't like that. It was confusing, and it was confusing to me too. So if you have a big family and you want to feed them timelier than you would, you know, if you were cooking things in the oven, you could still do them in the air fryer, do them in batches, have everything ready, do it in batches, and then you could cook 2 items at one time, which is really nice, like I did with the zucchini and the chicken wings. So you want to look for something that is easy to clean. These drawers are super easy to clean, literally a minute of soaking, and I just wipe them right out. They're absolutely beautiful. So, you know, and honestly, it depends on how much you want to spend too, because those gadgets that have a lot more things that the actual gadget can do sometimes cost a little bit more money, but you may not need that. You may just want an air fryer just to air fry. So this air fryer actually does air broil, which if I just wanted to do a tuna melt, I could put the tuna sandwich in there, hit air broil, and the heat would just go radiate from the top, and it would circulate it, but it wouldn't cook the bottom. So it's a broiling element. It does roasting. It does actually reheating things. So it does a specific amount of time, typically I think like 5 minutes or so, reheats just about anything at a perfect temperature. So I mean, this is a little simpler version, but it has more capacity, okay? And I think that once you decide what it is you're looking for in an air fryer, you know, you can kind of make that choice. A lot of it depends on how many people you're cooking for, and that's the gist of it. You know, if it's 2 people, you get one kind of air fryer. If it's an army, you want to get maybe 2 air fryers. No, you know, something that cooks way lot more capacity, because you know, you do have to cook in batches, so it is going to take you a little more time.
Sure, sure. Heidi asks, do you have specific measurements for the zucchini fritters and the sauce for the Korean chicken wings?
Yes, and actually, if you follow your recipe, the sauce will make, I'm thinking it'll make about a cup of sauce. I made more because I have more wings. So, you know, depending on how many wings you're looking to use, if you buy a pound of chicken wings, you should, a cup of sauce should do it for you, okay? So the other thing is the zucchini, once you have shredded it, you need 2 cups of shredded zucchini for the recipe that we did. So just pack it into a measuring cup, you know, a cup measuring cup, and two cups should absolutely work with all the measurements that you have in the you know, in the recipe. Okay.
Okay. All right. Those are the only 2 questions so far that I see.
Okay.
You guys could unmute yourselves if you have a question. Go ahead.
Let me know, guys, if you have anything, you know, any problems you've had with your air fryer or anything, let me know. Honestly, to be honest with you too, this isn't something that I've been using it for a long time, and I've really not had any issues with it. I mean, you may once in a while see something smoke, but again, there's a remedy for that. You know what I mean? So it's like, don't panic when things like that happen. Think it through, and like, do I need to do something in order to fix this? And typically, if you're, you know, the smoke issue is only because things are starting to burn on the bottom, which isn't a big deal anyway. You know what I mean? And you're not gonna, the heat comes from the top, it doesn't come from the bottom. So it's all good.
I'm looking for the date of our next.
Oh yeah, I know, it's in August sometime, I think, Denise.
Yeah, is it October? Yeah, it's got to be September, right?
I think it's the end of August, to be honest with you.
The 1 month I have papers in, so I can't find it.
Okay. Yeah, it's
Yes.
August.
Yes, August 29th, grilling. We're doing a grill. You're going to be outside.
Yeah, I'm going to be outside. I have a patio on the back, and I have grills, and we're going to do a grilling demo right on the patio. So it'll be a fun demo. We're going to do some basic grilling, teach the basics, and then make a couple of really delicious dishes.
Okay. If anybody has, does not have the recipe. It's on our website, and all you have to do is print it out. I'm trying to think here. What else here? Let's see. What else did she? Oh, okay. Oh, Heidi didn't see the recipe, but it is there. We do have the. Okay, she said okay.
Awesome.
All right. Well, if nobody has any other questions, we will let Mary go and eat her delicious food while it's still warm.
Sorry, guys, I feel guilty. Sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for joining us, and I hope that I've taken the fear of air frying away from you all. You know, I hope.
Hey, Mary,
Yes.
how's Benjamin doing?
Oh, he's doing good. My daughter just had a little baby, and he's about almost 2 months now. So yeah, hi guys, he's doing really well. Yeah, getting bigger. It's quite an adjustment for our family because, you know, I haven't had a little one in so long. So yeah, we're having a lot of fun. It's good. Thanks for asking, guys.
Sure.
All righty. Well, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
I'll see you again soon.
Sounds good. Thanks, Denise.
All right. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.